Today's going to be a really special video. It's going to be a birthday Q&A. I am going to be testing out a brand new eyeshadow palette while I answer some questions that I asked for on Instagram. And at the end of this video, I'm actually going to be hosting a birthday giveaway. If you're interested in seeing all that, hearing me chat a little bit more about myself, try on some new eyeshadow, and see what I am giving away today, then please keep on watching. Hi guys. So I think as long as I can edit this in time, you are going to be watching this video on my 40th birthday, which is on Wednesday, June 30th. Fingers crossed I can actually make this happen in time. I'm filming this really late on a Monday. Tomorrow I am teaching most of the day, but I'm hoping to come home at night and manage to edit this video in one night, which is usually unheard of for me, but we're gonna try. We're turning 40, so who knows? Maybe I have suddenly some editing superpowers that are gonna come with this brand new year. This video is going to be really special for me in so many ways. I asked you guys to give me some questions over on Instagram. I've never done a Q&A before. I got a few really fun questions, and I thought I would use this opportunity also to play with an eyeshadow palette that I have lusted over for close to 2 years now, because I think this palette came out in the fall of 2019, if I'm not mistaken, maybe even late summer, and I have talked about this eyeshadow palette for the longest time. In fact, I was going to do a video all about my 40th birthday wish list. I didn't get around to doing that this month. If you still want to hear what's on my wish list, because it's not like I'm going to get a lot of these items, then let me know. But the first item that was going to be in that video was this baby right here. This is the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. This is a palette I have wanted for a very long time, as I just mentioned. And I have incredible friends because Stephen Ford and Rupi Minhas gifted me this palette as a surprise for my birthday. I'm still trying to process that. This has been a few weeks now. I have had this palette for a few weeks, and it's been so hard not to jump in and use it, but I really wanted to film this special birthday video with it because it was a birthday gift from them. So I am of course going to link both Stephen's and Rupi's YouTube and Instagrams. Please go give them some love, tell them they're amazing, because they are. I cannot thank both of them enough for this, because it really has been on every wish list that I've ever created in the past 2 years, and I'm just so excited to finally have her. So if you are interested in seeing me create a look with this, answer some questions, and actually do a very exciting giveaway at the end of this video, because there's a story. I'll tell you the story. I'll share with you the giveaway later in this video. We're gonna jump in, create a look, answer some questions, and right before we do, I just wanted to welcome everybody. If you are returning, thank you so much for being here. If you're new, hi, my name is Natalia. I'm a concert pianist that loves all things beauty, and it has definitely gotten me into a pickle in the past, both financially and just with overwhelm at the amount of makeup and beauty items that I own. So in 2020, I started my YouTube channel with a year-long no-buy, and I have now migrated to more of a low-buy budget journey. It's been very rough, I'll be honest. Definitely learning that I seem to be almost better at a complete no-buy than I am at a low-buy or a budget. But nonetheless, here on my channel, I am trying my best to find that balance, to do videos that showcase some new products, or at least new to me products, such as this beautiful palette. And also I have a lot of videos that center around using up what I already own. I have project pans going. I have one that is actually ending today as you're watching. So after you watch this video and you enter this giveaway, if you're interested, then please go and watch my previous video. It is a project pan that I'm doing called 40 Before 40, and there is going to be another surprise giveaway in there that I'll be announcing in the upcoming few weeks. And with that, and this very long intro that usually is long but not this long, I just wanted to one more time welcome you. Please consider subscribing and joining our frugal family. Let's jump in and do this Q&A. I'm not gonna focus too much on the palette. Obviously, I'm I'm gonna focus on it because I'm gonna create a look, and because I have wanted this thing for so long. It's probably already has tons of fingerprints, so I'm sorry, it's very reflective. Unless you are new to the beauty space, I am sure you have seen this gorgeousness before. I should probably be showing it to you this way because the light is slightly off. To my right, your left, I guess. But yeah, there she is. She's beautiful. I have no idea what I'm gonna do. I have not planned a look. We're just going to try something. Probably something fairly easy. I would imagine fairly warm toned. I wonder why. But the focus is going to be me answering a few questions. Let's see how I can do this, because usually talking and putting on makeup is not my forte. And then at the end, stay tuned for a story and a giveaway. I've written out the questions, or at least a summary of them, in my little notebook, just because I film on my phone. So of course the screenshots that I took of your questions is on my phone, and I had to write them out. So I'm sorry if this is a bit awkward. I kind of feel a little awkward, to be honest, doing this video, because as I said, talking and putting on makeup is something I struggle with to begin with. Turning 40 is something I'm struggling with. There's a lot of things lately I've been struggling with, and it's also, I'm a little hot and bothered because I cannot have the air conditioning on in this room while I film. It is extremely loud, and I know I shouldn't be complaining because the heat waves that have been happening all over the world are even worse than New York. But we did have 92, feels like 100 today, and even though it is evening, it still hasn't really cooled off. I'm still hot and bothered. So yeah, I feel like I'm stuttering today. I can't speak. I can't string two thoughts together. So if this video is a little bit all over the place, please forgive me, guys. It's my birthday, at least when you're watching. It's my birthday, so please forgive me for being a bit of a mess. Let me see. I want to start with at least one shade so that I can ooh and ah over how amazing this palette is, because that is what I expect. I think since there is no like all over the lid shade, and I usually do like to set my primer, I think I'm just right away gonna go in with this lightest transition shade, just so I kind of not set the whole thing obviously with it, but so that I have a good chunk of my crease already covered in lovely eyeshadow. So we're gonna do that, and then we're going to get into one of the questions. First of all, I had a few people that were so lovely that when I posted my Instagram stories, just wrote in and shouted out and wished me a happy birthday. Rupi, who I just mentioned because she was one of the two friends of mine that gave me this Metropolis palette. She was so cute. She just wrote, "How are you so amazing?" That was her question. So Rupi, thank you so much. I don't consider myself all that amazing most of the time, but hey, I'm glad there are people out there that do, so yay. Let's start with actually Eileen's question. Eileen from A Merch Beauty. She has a channel and an Instagram account. I'll try to link everybody that I remember down in the description box. So I'll be linking a bunch of different things down there. So Eileen asked me, what do I like most about living in New York? So yeah, for those of you guys that don't know, I live in New York City. I have lived in 3 out of the 5 boroughs throughout my time in New York. I came to New York in 1992 as a child, still back at that time. I mean, I'm 40 today, so obviously you guys can do the math. I was almost 11, and I lived in Queens for a while. Then I lived in Manhattan for quite a while, and then I came back and lived in Queens for over a decade, I want to say. And most recently, for the past couple of years, I have been in Brooklyn. I'll be honest, it's really hard for me to answer like what is the one most favorite thing I have about living in New York, because it is a combination of things. I know New York is one of those cities that really has quite a varied reputation. I know that it's loud. I know that it can be stinky and messy, and the subways are, you know, not always fantastic and have tons of delays and are not the cleanest, although they have definitely tried during this whole pandemic situation to clean it up. But I think the two most favorite things, like the two things, if I had to narrow it down, would definitely be the people, meaning like the variety of people. When you're in New York, you can find your people, whatever that means to you. Like there's just every ethnicity, every background, every life experience, every profession, every age, every you name it, it's here. I mean, we have just such a varied city in terms of the people that live here. Because of that, this city is never boring, ever. And I don't mean like things to do. Of course, that's definitely one of the things I love about New York is there's constantly things to do. I love the restaurant scene here in the city. I love the art scene here in the city. And as a musician, that's really important to me, of course. But like on a day-to-day, I'm talking purely, you know, not if I am going out or whatever, but on a day-to-day, I think it's just interacting with so many different kinds of people, or even if you're not interacting with them, just seeing them live their lives here and observing how the city moves and ticks. It definitely has its own pace, and a lot of times it's fast. And I know for a lot of people that can be very overwhelming. This is one of those cities that can definitely swallow you whole if you're not a big city person. But I love it. I love it. I am a big city gal. I always have been. I was born and raised in a huge city, and then I moved to another huge city. So yeah, for me, I think the energy and just the people here make this city really, really special. And then the second thing, and it kind of stems from the first one. The first one is about the people, and the second thing is kind of just about the rhythm of the city, including the visual aesthetic of the city. Like the New York City skyline. I know that there are tons of gorgeous cities in this world. Do you see what I'm doing? Not putting on makeup. I'm just talking. This is what I mean. I am terrible at talking and putting on makeup. So let's pause, find some brushes, lay them out in front of me because it'll be faster. Okay, so the first shade I used is Rope, and now I'm going to add some Rhizome, which is this like camel yellow shade. I'm just going to take a slightly smaller brush and also put that into the crease. What was I saying? Second thing, the pace, the rhythm. And what I mean by that, like the energy, what I mean by that is not necessarily what I just mentioned before, like how fast the city moves, how fast the people move in the city. Actually, the aesthetic energy of the city. I know that there are tons of more beautiful cities out there. Well, and it depends, I guess, what you consider more beautiful. Like if you are into older architecture, then of course there's Europe. And then I have never been, but you know, I hear magnificent things about Asia and India, and you know, there are tons of very different architecture out there in this world. But for me, there's something about the New York City, the Manhattan skyline. All these years later, it takes my breath away. Like if I leave New York for a while, even if it's just for a few days, and I come back and I drive on a, you know, on a nice day, either nice sunny day or at night when all the lights, the skyline is all lit up, there's just something about this city. It's just, I don't know. I love New York. I can't even clearly tell you why. I don't seem to have any words today, but I do love New York. Definitely the people and just the overall energy of the city.
Sorry for that noise. That is the neighbor's AC dripping on top of my AC.
No, and then there are things like that in New York where most of us don't really have our own house and we are at the mercy of our landlords and our neighbors. So I'm not saying it's all sunshine and butterflies by any means. As I said, the city can easily swallow you up and spit you out with no problem, but there are just so many magnificent things. Like today, for example, I went to see the Van Gogh immersive exhibit, and I know it's in many cities, but like just being back in Manhattan and walking through the city, even though it was ridiculously hot, and going to see this really beautiful exhibit, and then walking around the Lower East Side in search of this gelato place that I've wanted to try for like 20 years, and finally I was only about a 25-minute walk from there. So it was like, well, if there's ever a day for gelato, it has to be the day where it feels like 100 degrees. I don't know, there's just always a certain mood here, a certain energy, and people are busy, and it's not like they're unfriendly, they're just busy, they're surviving. So I think there's always that stigma of, oh, New Yorkers are so rude and this, that, and the other thing. I don't think we're that rude. I think we just move at a different pace, and because of that, unfortunately, we don't have the perspective of people coming as tourists who lead very different lives. Like when I go to quieter places, yeah, I find myself a bit like, all right, let's move. why is this taking so long? I just had this experience over the weekend in Connecticut. I went to Whole Foods up there and wanted to bring some flowers to my host, and the gal took like 20 minutes to create a bouquet out of the flowers I picked up. In New York, like at a corner bodega, when you hand the flower bouquet to the gentleman or the lady that is doing the flowers, that bouquet would have been done in probably 74 seconds because we just move. We have places to go. Nobody has that kind of patience or that much time. So, you know, a lot of people don't like that. I actually like that. I like the fast pace. Otherwise, I just feel sluggish. Well, especially in this heat. Moving on. This is taking forever. I want to deepen the outer V, and I want to answer another question. I'm actually going to answer Steven's question. Steven, who again is one of the incredible people that gifted me this palette. What do I want to deepen this eye look with? Maybe this bottom shade right here. What is this? This is Antique CP. See, I don't even know what are all these formulas. CM is what? Creamy matte, and CP, cream to powder. Is that her cream to powder formula, the one that's kind of controversial? So Steven asked a really fun question. He asked, what are some stereotypes about Russian people that I feel are either not true or I happen to hate? And while I'm sure that there are quite a few like more serious ones, well, I shouldn't say that because for some, of course, the one I'm going to mention is actually quite serious. But for me personally, in my life, the one that I have come across the most is people assuming that just because I am Russian, I can down vodka shots like nobody's business. And while vodka is one of my preferred hard liquors in cocktails, with the second one being gin, I'm not gonna have a vodka shot on the regular. Like, we do not drink vodka like water. That is not true. Yes, we're a country that has struggled with this stigma of alcoholism. And yes, I do have to say that can be very true, but I think that's true for a lot of countries. I don't think it's just Russia that deals with that. But yes, you know, it is something that has affected probably to some degree almost every Russian I know. I feel like every single one of us has had at least one family member somewhere down the line that has struggled with alcoholism. But as far as like that being something that all of us do, and it's happened to me so much where like I'll be out and as soon as people find out that I'm Russian, especially if, you know, I'm already like drinking at a party or at a bar, they instantly go,
Oh, you must, you know, vodka, let's get some vodka shots or whatever. And I'm like, no.
No, that's not like a thing on the daily. We are a very folklore rich country. We do have quite a lot of superstitions, and by now they've just become, it's not like we even believe in a lot of these things, but they've just become part of our culture. They've just become kind of part of how we do things. So for example, one of our superstitions is that you have to drink a shot of vodka to commemorate somebody that has passed on their either anniversary of their death or on their birthdays or whatever it may be. So for like really special people in my life that I have lost, if I am with Russian friends who know this tradition, who understand, I will do that. But is this something that I do like regularly? Absolutely not. Yes, you know, as I said, cocktails with vodka, sure. Martinis, all of that sort of stuff. But the stereotype, I think, is a lot more generalized and I don't agree with it. Other things, of course, that, you know, all Russians have ties to the mafia, but that's, I think Hollywood has a lot of play there. What else can I think of? I was trying to think of others, some more interesting, more deep ones, but honestly, so far nothing has come to mind. So I don't know, Steven, I'm sorry. Maybe you were looking for some insight that is beyond just those, and maybe those are kind of obvious to you. But yeah, definitely the whole vodka thing has always rubbed me a little bit the wrong way. Not because I'm not a drinker, but just because I feel like people take it too far. I just thought of another one, that Russian people are all like really serious and we never smile and we have no sense of humor. I could see how that can come across to some people because we're definitely not a culture that greets everybody, including strangers, with a smile. Like, you know, you go to the South, you go to Middle America, and you stop in any mid or small sized town, and everybody's waving and saying hello to each other. In Russia, that is not a thing. At least, definitely not in a big city, although I feel like here in the States, in the big city, that's also not necessarily a thing. But here, people still do share an occasional smile, you know, say, hey, how are you? Start up a conversation. Like, I don't remember growing up with that in Russia, to be honest. We're not that kind of culture. But if you get us in a setting where we already know people, oh my gosh, we are definitely smiley and know how to have a darn good time. And I think also some of these stereotypes are changing as older generations that have lived through communism, you know, are kind of passing on the torch to younger generations. I think definitely things are changing in so many ways. Kind of on the flip side of that, what I used to love as being a stereotype because it was true, and that was the fact that, you know, we
have some noise happening. Hold on.
Like the fact that we've had really strong arts, we've had really strong sciences, we've had really strong certain sports and chess and all of that sort of stuff. While we still do, I think definitely other countries have evened out the playing field. So, you know, things with different generations have different priorities, and with good reason. You know, times change, things change, governments change, and we'll see what happens. All right, moving on, because otherwise, of course, as always, we're gonna be here all night. Nicole from Makeup with a Lisp over on Instagram, she's actually a gal that I met at a meetup of Samantha March's back in 2019. She is part of the Sam Squad and watches Sam quite a bit, just like I do, and we met at a meetup of hers and have kept in touch a little bit. She asked me, how did I get started in teaching music? As I've mentioned, I know many a time I am a concert pianist. So I first started actually taking lessons, and that was back in Russia. I'm trying to figure out, since I am doing kind of a little bit of a halo, I'm trying to figure out what shade I want all over my lid. It looks like there are just so many beautiful options. Like, I'm drawn to all of these golds and bronzes, but then there's also this interesting one, and I can't tell, is that like a little bit of a duochrome? Does this sheet tell me what the formulas are? Yes, it does say DC, so I'm going to assume that's a duochrome. So then that's the one we're gonna go with, because I'm really curious. So I started playing the piano back in Moscow, which is where I was born, when I was 5. And back in those days, because it was still the Soviet Union, you kind of had to pretty early on establish what you were gonna do, or your parents, I guess, together with the child had to establish what you were going to do, and then you had to do it pretty well, which I'm guessing is why we had so many Olympic golds and amazing musicians, because we didn't really have this whole culture of try a million different things all throughout your entire like schooling existence. Like, you were fine trying a bunch of different things, but after a few years you really sort of had to pin down your top hobbies and then make them into something you're really good at. So our music schools were very, very strong, and it seemed, I guess, like I had the knack for it, the talent for it. So my mom really encouraged and pushed me to succeed at it. And it was pretty early on that it was sort of kind of like a natural transition into, I was going to make this into a career. So when I came to America, I entered the Juilliard pre-college program here in New York. And even though it's a fantastic program and a fantastic school, just having a weekly lesson just didn't seem like enough for me. It wasn't something I was used to. I was used to 2 lessons a week back in Russia, and just in general, like, you know, if you were that serious, you kind of usually would also maybe get an additional kind of like a tutor here in school, right? So you would get like an additional teacher that would work with you on what, you know, me and my Russian friends jokingly call like doing all the dirty laundry, like basically really work through on the details with you. And at some point, I actually met a Russian woman at a competition. Well, she was actually from one of the former Soviet republics. She was somebody that was a piano teacher of another competitor. My mom really clicked with her. Her student played really well, and we got to know each other. And at some point, my mom decided to send me to Florida to just stay with her and take some lessons. And it grew into a really beautiful teacher-student relationship for quite a few years. And because she had a huge studio and taught a lot of young children, she could sense that I have an interest in that. Like, I've always enjoyed teaching even before that, just socially amongst my friends and whatever. She let me sit in on a lot of her lessons. And then when I was about, I think 15 or 16, she actually started letting me, she was kind of training me essentially. She started letting me teach some of her students. So that's how I first started. And then a couple of years after that, when I got to college, also at Juilliard, and I needed to have some supplemental income just to survive, I started getting small teaching jobs here and there, and then larger teaching jobs. And then eventually I was an office manager for a music school for a number of years, and then decided to branch out and just do it on my own. And I started my own in-home service business in New York City, and then expanded to a brick and mortar in Long Island. Now with COVID, I don't know how long the brick and mortar will last and if it will, but nonetheless, I know I will still continue teaching.
There's something in my... Oh, that's, I think, eyeshadow. Huh. Fascinating.
So yeah, that is how I started teaching. It was kind of a teacher taking me under her wing, and then me catching the bug and teaching ever since, basically. And then somebody that won one of my giveaways in the past, who follows me both here on YouTube and on Instagram, Fall Dudeni, I don't know. I will leave her Instagram, of course, and her channel down below. So Fall asked, well, she first of all said, your content is top notch. Thank you so much. And then she asked me what motivated me to add beauty and makeup to my list of passions. You know, it's interesting. I was just talking about this on Kelly's channel. We just did a live yesterday as of my filming this, Kelly from Keep Beauty Real. And I was even saying there that I didn't really used to be a huge makeup wearer. Like all throughout my teens and my 20s, I almost never wore makeup except for the stage and just for special occasions. And then my first foray into really trying to do my own makeup, like glam and all that, was a friend of mine was getting married, and I decided, instead of yet again going to like a MAC counter or something, to try to do it on my own. So I started branching out, looking into tutorials. I think I bought like a Bare Minerals set that had pretty much the full face in there with their powder foundations and like their warmth bronzer and something else. And it came, I think, with a CD that you could watch on how to apply things. So that was my very first taste of like full face of makeup that I tried on my own. And then I'm again trying to just figure out what to do next. I think I want to, even though, and this is a beautiful duochrome by the way, and I actually really liked that cream to powder dark brown. What was this called? Antique. That was so smooth and so nice to use. Now I'm just trying to figure out what to do on my lower lash line. I do have to say that duochrome shade, even though I sprayed it, did have some fallout. So I do definitely have a little bit of glitter flecks. So then, after I already started to use this Bare Minerals makeup and I got a little bit more into it, I'm gonna go in with this really, really pretty terracotta color, Ripe. So then a friend of mine from Juilliard pre-college, actually, who is a violinist who has always been into makeup and beauty, posted something on her Facebook.
What did I do with the brush that I've just had in my hand? Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so my friend posted this tribute to a young girl. Her name was Talia Joy, I think it was Castellano or something like that. And she was battling childhood cancer, and she had a very large YouTube channel because beauty was her escape. It what made her feel beautiful. She always wanted to be a cover girl, which I believe she did. She was on the Ellen show back then, worked hard, did so many videos. This was back in, I want to say like 2012 or 2013, and basically my friend posted a tribute to her because she had just passed away. And I of course was heartbroken for the family and clicked on one of the videos and got completely sucked in to the YouTube beauty space. Talia was friends with Nicole Guerrero. Nicole Guerrero, I think, was friends with Jaclyn Hill because it was a whole Florida community, and the rest was history. I just kept on watching video after video after video, and next thing you knew, I was hoarding makeup, playing with makeup, wearing more makeup every time I would go out. And yeah, that's basically how I really got started. Okay, so I think I'm gonna take that initial like yellowy mustard shade and buff this. Sorry guys, I feel like I'm also talking so slow because I just get distracted. I can't multitask. I can't put on makeup and talk at the same time. I apologize. I feel like this video is going to be much longer than I wanted it to be because of that. All right, now what do I want for my inner corner? I mean, if I want to go just very bright, I would do that, but I don't know. I kind of want to do something like really yellow gold and out there. So I think that's what we're gonna do.
Oh, what is this bug situation that's happening? Go away.
We have 2 more questions. One is from Helen Loves to Laugh. She asks, would I consider ever a post office box to receive cards, makeup, etc.? And first of all, that is so incredibly sweet for you to even think about that. And second of all, I'll be honest, I have considered it, not because I want you guys ever to send me anything, but actually because I am in a building now where there is no doorman, and I have had a few instances, unfortunately, of people stealing my packages. It hasn't happened, thankfully, too often, but it has happened a couple of times. So I have considered it even just for that reason. I know it's an extra expense, which is why I haven't done it yet. But, you know, when I saw that question come through, I was like, you know, it was like a reminder. I was like, maybe I finally should just bite the bullet and do it. So I was actually thinking that maybe on my birthday, if I have the time, I would walk over to the post office and just see what they have available, what are the costs, and decide whether that's something for me right now or something that I'm gonna wait on for a little bit longer. But thank you so much for asking that. That is so incredibly kind. I would love nothing more than to receive cards and letters from you guys. That would be so incredible because being that I'm 40, I am of the pen pal generation. I'm definitely still a write it down kind of gal. I think getting cards and letters would be just so special and so cool. And then the last question came from Mrs. Unnecessary, and this was a question, well, she actually just said she would love to hear any stories and anything pertaining to my performances and my travels. Oh, and I think I forgot earlier to mention, I said that, you know, I have some friends that just wish me a happy birthday. I know Tan from Tan's Beauty, I'll list her channel too. She wished me a happy birthday and thanked me for always being such a good friend, and I can only say the same. Tan is my very first YouTube friend. She'll always hold a very special place in my heart, so thank you so much. But getting back to my performances and my travels, while I actually do some liner and mascara, almost every performance that involves travel is exciting for me because I love to travel. So stories, all right, let's see. What are some of the favorite places that I visited and favorite performance stories? Definitely the standout to this day has to be my 2 trips to South Africa. I did a solo recital in South Africa probably by now about 7 or 8 years ago, and then I went back about 5 years ago, I want to say, with my best friend who is also a phenomenal concert pianist, and he and I formed a piano duo a number of years back. So we've performed quite a lot together, either one piano for hands or 2 pianos. The second tour that I went on in South Africa was together with him. I can't, you know, retell all the stories, but I will say the country itself is gorgeous. I had so many just wow moments as far as nature and unbelievable, you know, I mean, of course they have the safaris and everything, but just such a vastly gorgeous country. And then as far as a performance, while we were there, I got to perform solo with the Cape Town Symphony Orchestra, and that was such an incredible experience. It was a full house. The audience was just so warm and so inviting, and it was one of the few times where I really, you know, and not to say that like you don't have fun on stage, of course you do, but you also get usually very nervous, or at least I do. And this was one of those times where I was absolutely petrified beforehand, but once I walked on stage and started playing a few pages in, I I don't know, I just had such a blast. I just had so much fun. I think it was the energy of the room, the energy of the orchestra. I really felt like everybody was there to see me succeed, to support me, to enjoy my performance. And we really do feed off our audiences. Sometimes you walk into a performance thinking you're gonna knock it out of the park, and just somehow, you know, you don't necessarily click with the audience of that town. Something is off. You know, we all have our good days and our bad days, but this was definitely a good day, and I will never forget that performance. It was just so much fun, and as I said, the audience was so receptive, and I have a few, of course, like that. One of my first international piano competitions I have both good and bad memories of. That was in England, in Leeds, England. I was 15 at the time, and the first round of the 4-round competition was also one of these moments where you just know you're on fire, and everybody's loving it, and it's just such a good feeling. Some places in the States that I've loved have been California. We've played a few concerts several times in California.
Oh, a siren. You guys didn't think there would be at least one siren. Come on.
While we were in California, one of the crazy things that we did, because I'm known to do crazy things such as drive for way too many hours, even though I'm exhausted, or at least I used to when I was younger, we took a trip down Route 1, the coast in California. We had a flight in the evening out of LA, and we were all the way up in San Jose, and we decided to do this enormous drive in one day and then fly back to New York. And while we were exhausted, I regret nothing, because it's to this day my most memorable drive, I think. I loved Georgia. I've been to Georgia once. Well, I've been to Georgia twice, but once for performance, once just to visit Savannah for like a day. And I can't remember all the little towns we were in, but I remember we were in St. Simon's Island, which is stunning. I won't remember the other towns where we played, but it was like a little tour in Georgia, and no like huge big venues. It was pretty intimate and really, really fun. I actually really love those sort of concerts that have history behind them. They're either in historic buildings or churches, and there's so many little concert series all throughout this country that most people don't know about. And I don't know right now after COVID if they are going to survive. Fingers crossed. I guess time will tell. But yeah, that's just a few little stories. Obviously, I can't tell them all. But since we are on the topic of performances and things like that, I actually was meaning to do a video dedicated to this, but June, as every month, seems to have ran away from me. And I still would like to do some music-inspired makeup looks. That's definitely on my list. But I recently did a video project, a performance with two very good friends of mine, both pianists, and we did this whole program of transcriptions and arrangements of operas and ballets. We recorded it, put it out on YouTube. My friends have their own concert series that of course had to shut down during COVID, and as they're coming out of this, you know, they were doing a few like recording concerts throughout the 2020 year, and this is the last online concert that they filmed. This was kind of the season finale, so they wanted it to be extra special, so they did this whole 2-piano extravaganza. They included me in it, and they posted this video on YouTube and are asking their audience members and anybody else that wishes to donate so that they can come back in person and be able to, you know, pay future artists for us maybe to be able to record this program in the future as well. So if you guys are interested in checking out that concert, it is very enjoyable, especially if you're a lover of opera and ballet. This would be right up your alley. I'll go ahead and link that video. Today is the last day though to make a donation. There's a PayPal link in that video, and if you know, you listen to it and you want to support my friends in their concert series endeavors, then it would be amazing if you could make a donation. But obviously, even if you can't, just you going over there and watching would mean a lot to me, and I'm sure to them. Just wanted to put that out there. I am playing a 2-piano version with my best friend of both the ballets Swan Lake and Nutcracker by Tchaikovsky. So I would like to in the future do looks inspired by those, and I was going to talk more about the process of the whole, you know, recording this special video and promote it a little bit earlier, but it just didn't happen. It's been quite the month, and you know, here we are, and it's already the last day of June. But go check that out. I would love that. And then of course, the last thing, aside from my first impressions, which so far are very positive, I of course will have to use this eyeshadow palette more to tell you guys anything else, because there's so many beautiful shades. Yeah, I'm just trying to see how we're doing here with fallout. Got a little, but it's not so bad. It's really not so bad. And I will know in the future and tap off the brush more, etc. So far, I'm really loving it. Okay, I promised you guys a story, a final story, and a giveaway. So here we go. When Rupi and Steven ordered this palette and then wrote me saying that there's a surprise arriving to my apartment on a given day, I remember even thinking, oh no, they didn't. Like, I had that fleeting thought because they know, they both have the palette. They know, we've chatted about it for months. And I was like, no, they couldn't have. Like that's just too much. That's too extravagant. This is just beyond. And then of course, lo and behold, I arrived home after work and I found this wrapped in a, you know, came in a Sephora box. And I immediately busted into it, opened it up, had this like moment. Because while the palette was brand new and gorgeous, it was missing one shade. And by missing, I don't mean like, oh, the shade broke. No. It was just missing one shade. So whoever packed it, sorry, it's gonna have fingerprints, but whoever packed it just forgot to pop in one shade. Can you guys see? I can't. Okay, I don't want to get my fingerprints like all over, but right here, if I open up mine, you will see, hopefully, which shade is missing. Steven was kind enough to contact Sephora and explain what happened, and they were kind enough to say, don't worry about it, we're shipping out a new one. And yeah, and do what you want with the other one. And I decided that since I have wanted this palette for so long and I got it as a birthday gift, that I would, on my birthday, gift the other Natasha Denona Metropolis palette to one of my subscribers and viewers. Yes, it has one shade missing, but it's a brown. Like, if there was one shade that it's okay for it to be missing, it would be a mid-tone brown that we all have. And it is a cream to powder. It is this shade right here that is missing. Everything else is perfect, with the exception of a few of my fingerprints, because this packaging, you can't avoid it. So I still thought that it is definitely a worthwhile giveaway. I still thought that one of you would absolutely love it regardless of that. And I definitely do not plan on wasting Natasha Denona Metropolis palette just because it is missing one shade. And since it was a gift and such a generous gift, I wanted to pass it on to somebody else and gift it to somebody else. So I think for this one, we're gonna keep it real simple. I don't want to create any complicated rules. Yes, of course, we all want to grow on YouTube. Yes, of course, I would love to somehow promote it and have you guys go and follow me on Instagram and, you know, watch 10 of my videos and then I'm not gonna do any of that, because this is kind of like for my ride or dies. If you're here and if you're watching and if you stuck it out this far and if you don't have the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette and you've wanted it as much as I have, then just drop a comment down below. I don't know, maybe tell me something birthday related, maybe a favorite birthday story of yours, or maybe what is on your birthday wish list if you have a birthday coming up. Obviously, you have to be subscribed. Please be publicly subscribed so I can actually confirm it. And other than that, I don't know, just like this video, share it if you could, but none of that is a requirement. That is only if you would like to. Put a comment down below, let me know that you want to enter the giveaway so that I can differentiate those comments, and I will just go through, sort through the comments, pick out the actual entries, and we'll just draw one either in a future live if I decide to keep the tradition of drawing, or I'll film it. Let's run this giveaway for, I guess let's do it maybe for like 3 weeks. Let's close this on July 21st. And other than that, thank you so much again to Steven and Rupi for gifting me this gorgeous and glorious beauty. I am going to cherish it forever. Thank you to the rest of you so much for being here. What a wonderful birthday gift, for having every single one of you guys here to support me in this YouTube journey and in my journey to finding balance between purchasing new things and enjoying showing what I already own. I hope you enter the giveaway if you do not yet have the Metropolis palette. I hope that you will chat with me down below. Let me know what you think of this, what should have been a quick but dragged on forever eye look. And just one more reminder, if you haven't already, to please subscribe. Please take care of yourselves and those around you, and I can't wait to see you in my next video. Bye guys.